At first glance, if we look at it, it doesn't seem to buy anything special. But wait, this is made up of Toromiro wood obtained from only a rare Easter island. It had shiny obsidian eyes and circles around them, maybe from the bird bones. People aren't sure what it was used for, but they think it might have been important for ceremonies or related to a bird cult on the island. The eyes of the item are inset with obsidian, a natural glass material. Additionally, the eye circlets surrounding them were likely sections of the bird's leg bone, although this detail is not entirely clear. The item was likely crafted towards the end of the 19th century or the beginning of the 20th century, possibly even later. The precision of the carving indicates that it may have been replicated from an existing example. By the late 19th century, such items became tourist pieces as their cultural significance waned. Even though it's not super old, it's still worth a good amount, like $3,000 to $5,000. They said if it was from the 1700s, it could be worth way more, like $50,000 to $100,000.
I think this probably maybe $3,000 to $5,000.
Wow.
As a retail price.
That's fantastic.
The 1893 World's Columbian Exposition Safe Bank was likely a souvenir sold during the fair. 15 years ago, at a local show, it was discovered in a booth and purchased for $250. These are what are known as still banks, with a variety of forms available.
This was made for the Columbian Exposition, which celebrated the 400th anniversary of the discovery of America, and it was in Chicago in 1893.
The object displays 3 portraits on its sides, with a copper-plated inset revealing Grover Cleveland, the president during that period. On the back, Columbus was undoubtedly regarded as the hero of the fair, and T.W. Palmer, the chairman of the fair. There's something in the bottom.
It says on the bottom, patent applied for, which means it really was never granted.
Describing the safe bank, it's a rare nickel-plated cast iron piece with copper inserts. The appraiser values them at around $10,000 to $12,000.
Oh, wow.
For more than 20 years, passed down from a relative in New York City, they didn't know who painted it because the name on the front was hard to read. But when they checked the back, they found the name Botkin. This turned out to be Henry Botkin, an artist from Boston who spent a lot of time in New York City. He once worked with his cousin, the famous composer George Gershwin, in Charleston. In a rather serendipitous turn of events, it's noteworthy that the painting's subject matter coincides with the location where the guests currently find themselves, Charleston. Whether the painting was created in Charleston or not remains uncertain. The scene depicted portrays a somewhat disreputable-looking character within a restaurant or cafe interior, evoking perhaps nostalgic memories of his time spent in Paris. This charming artwork is rendered in oil on canvas, laid down on board, and is characteristic of the artist's style from the 1930s. Interestingly, the artist later gained recognition primarily for his abstract paintings during the 1940s and 1950s. And most importantly, it could be worth between $3,000 and $5,000 at auction. The guest brought in a plant stand with a fascinating backstory. Originally belonging to the guest's grandmother, it was sold in an estate sale when the guest's father was just 16. Years later, a distant cousin who had purchased the plant stand at the estate sale returned it to the family. The plant stand is a piece designed by the Charles Parker Company of Meridian, Connecticut, dating back to around 1880. The company, known for various household items like flatware and furniture, wasn't as prominent as some of its contemporaries. The plant stand's design embodied the aesthetic movement style, characterized by its unexpected and often Japanese-inspired elements. The specific features include thistles, an exotic dancer with a tambourine, a style that is truly exquisite. Considering the ongoing popularity of aesthetic movement furniture and the plant stand's unique design, at auction the estimated value is to be between
The value of the table between $800 and $1,200.
Wow, great.
The guest's chance encounter with a pair of paintings in a Minneapolis gallery in 1959 turned out to be a happy accident with a surprising backstory. Drawn to the beauty of the Parisian scenes, the guest impulsively purchased the paintings for $150 each, not realizing the story behind the artist or the potential value they held. The paintings were indeed Parisian views by A. Gisson, but then had an unexpected twist. André Gisson, the artist that the guest thought was a French painter, was not French at all. In fact, he was Anders Gittelson, a struggling artist from Brooklyn who, while facing career challenges, had to reinvent himself as Andre Gisson, a Frenchman born in 1910.
Said he was born in 1910 and was named Andre Gisson. He lived in Westport, Connecticut most of his life and painted there.
Despite his fabricated identity, Gisson's talent was undeniably impressive, evident in the Parisian views presented. The most delightful news, however, is the significant increase in the value of Gisson's paintings. The estimated price of the pair of Parisian views would fetch between...
I would probably expect to get $3,000 to $4,000 for them, for the pair.
Good.
The guest inherited two paintings from her mother, who had a passion for collecting antiques and folk art. The first piece was Fancy Rabbits by A.J. Sims, portraying rabbits within an interior setting. The other piece was a wonderful cat portrait by Charles van den Eycken in a 19th century style. Eycken is renowned for his elaborate cat paintings and is a master of that specific style. The particular piece featured a mother cat, kittens, a jewelry box, and a still life, creating a rich and detailed composition. The guest revealed what his mother had spent on each painting.
Well, my mother purchased the Fancy Rabbits in 1967 for $85, $250 for the cats.
Considering the exceptional quality and significance, the value assessed for the artwork was...
The Sims I would value at probably between $2,000 and $4,000.
Oh, really?
Is the Van den Eycken, and I would be putting that at between $15,000 and $25,000.
Really?
Oh, yes.
The guest inherited a collection of Chinese jade pieces from their father, who acquired them in China during the late 1930s and 1940s while serving in the army as a liaison. The guest father learned Chinese and befriended Mr. Leong at number 10 Jade Street.
Mr. Leong would call him and say, "John, I have some pieces you might want to look at."
These jade pieces are of exceptional quality. The collection includes a Mughal-style dragon bowl from the 18th century featuring thin carving and crisp workmanship. Another bowl, also Mughal-style from the 18th century, features a ruby in intricate patterns, while a 17th century bowl features an animal known as Bijia, symbolizing warding off evil. The crow top piece has an imperial inscription, indicating it was specifically ordered for the emperor, with a conservative auction estimate of more than $600,000. The entire collection is valued between...
For a total amount of between $710,000 to $1,070,000.
Damn, I just can't. I had no idea.
The expert praises the collection as one of the best they've seen and a remarkable find. The guest acquired a collection of silver gelatin prints of the silent film star Mia Farrow from the costume designer George Hopkins, who lived in the same building in Hollywood. The prints were rescued from a fire in the building's basement, where Hopkins had stored them and offered to pay.
He said, "I'll pay you guys $20 a piece if you'll go down and just throw it all out." And we said, "Throw it all out?" He said, "Yeah, I don't want anything down there."
Mia Farrow, known as the Vamp or the Vampire, was a symbol of her day, comparable to Marilyn Monroe.
She was the looker. She starred in only silent films. She did not ever utter a word.
The prints taken by the renowned Hollywood photographer Albert Wetzel include autographed and dated images, some featuring production details from the 1917 movie Duvery. Farrow was one of the highest-paid actresses of her time, earning $4,000 a week for her films. But most of her 40 films were lost in a fire at Fox Studios in 1937. The prints are in pristine condition and could fetch between $750 to $1,000 each at auction, with signed prints commanding $2,000 to $3,000 each, totaling a value of about...
This would be about $6,500 to $9,000.
Holy moly.
The guest acquired a French doll from the Jumeau factory. It's made between 1885 and 1900 after falling in love with dolls at an antique shop. The doll is marked Bébé Jumeau on the front and Titi Jumeau on the back.
Ted Jumeau, and it's a size number 8. What it also has is the original cork plate.
It features original blue glass paperweight eyes and a replaced wig that closely resembles the original style. Despite looking all original, the doll has a reproduction dress and label and wears German shoes with synthetic socks. Our guest purchased the doll for around $300 and was surprised to learn that, even though it's not all original, it could fetch between
$3,500 and $4,500. So you made a good buy, even though it's not original.
The appraiser reassures the guest that the doll is not a dud and was a good buy, considering its value despite not being completely original. The guest brought in a fascinating piece, a maquette for a sculpture by Alexander Calder. Her father's metalworking shop had been commissioned by Calder himself to fabricate the full-sized version for the 1958 Brussels World's Fair. Alexander Calder is a very famous 20th century American sculptor whose father was a sculptor and was born in Philadelphia. Calder's artistic approach blended artistic vision with a specific background. This article shows the piece before it was painted. This piece was meant to revolve because it had a motor on it and revolved once a minute around its carved wood base. It's a very desirable collectible. However, it is really easy to fake because they are made of thin sheet metal.
One of the things, though, they're easy to fake. These are cut with tin snips out of a sheet of, sheet metal, and they're painted with household paint.
At auction, however, the value of the maquette is
the $50,000 to $75,000 range.
Really? Oh my. Oh my.
The guest, originally from Mississippi, brought in a painting by a local Mississippi artist, Marie Hall. She had purchased it for a mere $1,500 in a group of 3 paintings from an estate sale. Marie Hall is a respected but local artist whose works typically remained within Mississippi.
She lived in Belhaven, which is a neighborhood in Jackson. My husband and I lived there.
The painting itself, titled Yellow Hill, surprised the appraiser with its abstract style, a departure from Hall's usual impressionistic work. The painting is probably from the 1950s or 1960s, a period that favored modern and abstract styles. This work is an oil on canvas with a good size and very harmonious colors, the nice greens. It's a very nice painting, and in the market today, people are much more interested in mid-century modernism than they are in the earlier realistic impressionist styles. While a more traditional floral piece by Hall might be worth around $2,000, the abstract Yellow Hill is estimated at a much higher value of
$15,000.
Oh, great. Great. My husband will be very pleased.
The painting comes from the guest great-aunt, who was a teacher at Brooklyn Polytech High in New York in the 1920s, while Jane Peterson, the artist, was the director of drawing for the Brooklyn Public Schools. The guest great-aunt, who was both a science teacher and artistically inclined, struck up a friendship with Peterson.
I do know that my great-aunt spent one of her summers off up in Gloucester, which is the site of this painting.
Peterson, born Jenny Christine in Elgin, Illinois in 1876, studied at Pratt Institute in New York and later in Europe.
And when she lived in Paris, she actually was neighbors with Gertrude Stein, and through that connection managed to meet people like Picasso and Matisse.
The painting is housed in a frame likely made by another artist, George Off, known for his frames. Peterson was honored by Time magazine and was respected for her vibrant brushwork and use of bright colors, reminiscent of post-impressionism. Gloucester was one of Peterson's favorite painting locations, along with Venice, New York scenes, and floral still lifes. The painting was appraised in 1998 as a watercolor, but it is actually gouache,
which is a water-based paint, but it's very opaque. One thing that makes it desirable is having so many figures, and it's such a great subject to see these floats. It's a wonderful image.
With its detailed figures and vibrant subject, the painting could fetch as much as
$50,000. Oh, my word. Wow.
The guest brought a circa 1903 Thomas Edison kinetoscope picture film projector to the show. Thomas Edison was an American inventor and businessman. He developed many devices in the field such as electric power generation, mass communication, sound recording, and motion pictures. The projecting kinetoscope was electrically powered and worked with a celluloid film. The electrically driven reels passed the sprockets wound film through the brass lens using a wooden knob on the end. It has a nameplate text reading Improved Projecting Kinetoscope, made by Edison Manufacturing Company, Orange, New Jersey, USA. The value of this exquisite piece is estimated to be around $1,000 to $2,000. Get ready, Indian viewers, for a captivating artifact linked to Mahatma Gandhi that will surely leave you astonished. The guest brought a spinning wheel gifted to her mother by Mahatma Gandhi in 1931.
She made a grand effort, and so he said he would give her a gift.
Her grandfather advocated for Indian independence in the United States.
This is a picture. This is my grandmother, her mom, and this is her sister.
The spinning wheel symbolized economic freedom by boycotting British goods through self-spun cotton clothing, making a powerful stand against colonial oppression. The guest family also met prominent figures such as Nehru and Indira Gandhi. During the turbulent Second Round Table Conference in London, Gandhi passionately advocated for Indian nationalism and self-rule. The spinning wheel's presence on the Indian flag, along with its association with Mahatma Gandhi, highlights its historical importance, rendering it a rare and valuable antique.
This is a typical style of Indian portable spinning wheel.
Right.
We would give a reasonable auction estimate at $50,000 to $75,000.
Wow. Wait till I tell my kids that.
The guest inherited a beautiful painting from her cousin. The artist responsible for this work is William Mason Brown, a prominent figure associated with both the Hudson River School and the American Pre-Raphaelite. Brown's paintings were known for their meticulous portrayal of nature, evident in the detailed rendering of trees, cows, water, and even the floral still life. Created between 1850 and 1869, the era of the American Civil War, the painting embodied a sense of nostalgia. The title, The Old Homestead, together with the empty cottage and windblown curtains, hinted at a yearning for a simpler, more innocent time. The painting is in excellent condition and also has the potential for significant improvement through cleaning. This cleaning process could enhance the colors by 30 to 50%. At auction, the estimated price of this is between
$30,000 and $50,000.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes.
Wow.
The guest purchased this item at an estate sale in Grand Rapids approximately 4 years ago for $18. This comb was made by Marie de Hoa LeBlanc, renowned for her exceptional work at Newcomb College since the 1890s. Unlike typical floral patterns, this comb had rare animal motifs. Its date was determined to be 1906, placing it among the early works of Newcomb College. The piece exhibited a textured quality preferred by many collectors. Given its rarity, quality, and historical significance, the appraiser estimated its auction value.
This particular piece at auction today would be $5,000 to $7,000.
The guest's father was at Pearl Harbor, serving on the hospital ship Solace near the USS Arizona. He retrieved a flag from the water near the Arizona. The flag had been in the family since then, symbolizing a significant piece of history and a reminder of the tragic events of Pearl Harbor. The appraiser discusses the significance of the flag in relation to the attack on Pearl Harbor.
Generally, the thing that drives the price is not necessarily the flag itself.
Despite its historical significance, the appraiser determines that the flag
was made in 1944, which presents a small problem for it being at Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941.
This discrepancy suggests that the flag may have not been at Pearl Harbor during the attack. The appraiser acknowledges the artifact's value as an interesting piece of World War II history, emphasizing the importance of the story and the artifact's connection to the guest father, a decorated naval officer. The flag, while not directly linked to the Pearl Harbor attack, is valued at $300 to $500. However, if it had been authenticated as a Pearl Harbor flag, its value could have been as high as
an estimate of $250,000 to $300,000.
I think the monetary value was never anything that we had much of a consideration for anyway. It was really the historical value that we were really trying to ascertain and eventually get to, but really appreciate your help.
The guest scored an amazing find at a garage sale in Gallup, New Mexico, a unique piece of beaded folk art for a mere $50. The guest wasn't sure of its origin, however. It is a truly fascinating and valuable item. The piece likely dates back to the 1860s or 1870s. The details on the beaded figure, such as the clothing and the folding camp chair, pointed towards a military officer. The figure's placement on a Navajo-style weaving added another layer of uniqueness. The origin of the artwork remains a mystery. It could have been crafted by a Native American tribe like the Ute or Navajo, or it could be the work of an Anglo person.
Probably dyed with a substance called cochineal, which
comes from ground-up insects.
This ambiguity meant the piece could be offered for sale in either an American folk art auction or a Native American art auction. Regardless of its origin, the estimated value of the beaded artwork is between
$5,000 and $7,000.
Yeah. Just made my day.
The guest brought in a beautiful pendant with a rich family history. It had been passed down through 4 generations of women, beginning with the guest's great-grandmother, who arrived in Tucson in 1878. A photograph even showed the great-grandmother wearing the pendant around 1915. The pendant's origin is likely New York City, dating back to the turn of the 20th century. The design embodied the popular Belle Epoque style, characterized by its fine platinum work, mill-graining details, and wreath or garland motifs. The pendant itself featured a central diamond of nearly 1 carat, surrounded by smaller graduating diamonds for a total weight of 5 carats. There is increasing demand for Belle Epoque jewelry, especially considering the exceptional quality of the platinum work. The estimated value of the pendants at auction is between
$7,000 and $9,000.
Oh my gosh, really?
Yes, definitely.
Oh, that's wonderful.
The guest neighbors, who were avid antique collectors, stumbled upon it while visiting an antique store in Canada. They purchased it for a modest sum, between $15 and $25, and it adorned their living room wall for 4 decades. Despite a burglary, the vanity remained untouched while other silver items were taken. This fold-out vanity was manufactured by the Rogers Smith Company, headquartered in Connecticut. It is made of silver plates. The company was among the leading producers of American silver plate in the late 19th century, with this piece dating back to around 1880 or 1870, during the peak of the aesthetic movement. The vanity showcases Japanese-inspired decorations surrounding the frame, along with intricate pierced decorations on all 4 corners. Its sides are designed to swing out, and there are loop handles for hanging. A delightful floral element decorates the reverse side, adding to its charm. It's recommended not to polish the vanity due to its silver plating loss, which has resulted in a brassy finish due to previous overcleaning. Despite some loss of silver plating, the vanity's value was estimated between $4,000 and $6,000.
Oh, okay.
It's a vibrant expression of cultural identity and heritage, reflecting the artistic skills. Gohandle, the wife of Chief Woodenlance, which is the great-grandfather of the guest, made the dress. Crafted in 1915 for the family's favorite eldest daughter, Aunt Lucy, the dress was tailored to fit her as a 9-year-old and made bigger boots for her in the ancient Kiowa style. Dresses were often 2-piece. The dress features stunning beadwork by a renowned 19th century artisan. These items, akin to silk, boast intricate beauty, with most beads crafted from hand-cut Czechoslovakian glass. The treaty, signed by Woodenlance with federal government in 1899, designates him as chief of the Kiowas and mandates respectful treatment to uphold his commitment. The appraiser values the item between $12,000 and $15,000. The guest brought in a magnificent pocket watch with a potentially remarkable history. Family lore suggests the watch belonged to Pancho Villa, a notorious Mexican revolutionary who supposedly traded it for a car.
He had killed a man in Mexico City and took the watch off of him.
The watch originated in Mexico City before the 1900s, and the inscription on the dial matched a known jeweler there, La Esmeralda. Crafted from 18-karat gold and featuring rose diamonds with the initials of the original owner mounted on the case. It boasts a complex Swiss chronograph movement with multiple functions, including a moon phase indicator and a stopwatch. The matching 18-karat gold chain with a diamond-encrusted fob adds to the watch's overall value. The lever here is to make it chime, which is sometimes called blind man's function.
Pushing this lever and counting the chimes.
Oh, how interesting.
At an auction, this watch is estimated to be worth between
somewhere between $30,000 and $50,000.
Would it be worth more if I could prove the story?
Definitely.
That's what I thought.
From the Victorian period to being passed down to him by his great-great-grandmother, this piece of art is worth a lot more than it looks.
We call it a whiskey crock. Really don't know what it is. It just was passed down from generation to generation.
What seems like a normal jug wrapped around by a snake is called a temperance jug.
And during the Victorian period,
They were kind of prudish about
The
things.
snake in question is a rattlesnake that increases the jug's visual appeal and perceived value. During the Victorian period, these jugs were created to signify that alcohol was bad for you. For something created for such a purpose, one would expect that it would auction at nothing more than $100. But due to standing the test of time, it auctions for a whopping $8,000 to $12,000.
Wow.
The bronze sculpture depicts the guest mother at 7 years old in 1924, while she was in France attending school with her family. The artist, Paul Trubetskoy, signed and dated the sculpture, which also bears a Paris foundry mark. Trubetskoy, born in Italy to a Russian prince and an American singer,
he did a whole variety of subjects. He did animal topics. He did famous personalities, politicians of the time, intellectual thinkers.
moved from Russia to France in 1905, then back to America before returning to France. His society portraits, like this sculpture, were a significant part of his career, capturing the elegance of high society. While some of Trubetskoy's works are more recognizable, this personal portrait of the guest mother still holds considerable value. A comparable sculpture by Trubetskoy would retail for around
You'd expect to pay at retail price in the $20,000 range.
Wow.
So it's a very valuable piece.
Wow.
A woman brings a treasure chest of drawers to show, inherited from her father's family for many years, possibly dating back to her great-great-grandfather.
Who is one of the framers of the Declaration of Independence. So I don't know if it's that old.
It's a piece of Chippendale's tall chest of drawers, a style named after the London cabinet maker Thomas Chippendale. This chest exhibits all the characteristics of an 18th century Pennsylvania-made piece. The Chippendale tall chest boasts 5 drawers on top for easy access to frequently used items. Below them sit 4 graduated drawers, offering ample storage for larger belongings. These drawers are adorned with distinctive lemon-shaped pulls, adding a touch of whimsy to the piece. One drawer front features a beautiful tulip inlay, a testament to the craftsmanship that went into this piece. Constructed from black walnut, the preferred wood of Pennsylvania furniture makers. Finally, a secret Quaker lock adds an extra layer of security to the chest's precious contents. At auction, the Chippendale tall chest could fetch.
Today, it's probably worth at least $30,000 to $50,000 at auction.
Is it really?
A guest presents a collection of unique mugs, each imbued with a touch of Hollywood history. They were specially made for cast and crew members of John Wayne movies. Most of them were hand-painted and personalized with messages and imageries related to the films.
And generally a picture from one of the scenes of the movies. The only exception was The Quiet Man, where there's nothing on the back.
The guest father, Al Murphy, was John Wayne's right-hand man during the actor's golden age. This special connection is evident in the inscriptions on the mugs, all addressed to Al or Murph from Duke. The collection showcases a variety of designs, some featuring scenes from the movies, while others offering a more personal touch.
So there can't be anything that has better provenance than coming directly from John Wayne.
Notably, the mug from The Quiet Man stands out with its inscription in Gaelic, 100,000 welcomes, and its distinct green color, the only one in the collection. These mugs rarely surface outside the families who receive them. The appraiser estimates the entire collection to be worth.
We sold the Green Berets one for almost $6,000. Comancheros for $4,000.
Oh.
So altogether, I would put an estimate on these of $25,000 to $35,000.
Oh my
goodness. A woman brings in a family heirloom, a portrait paired with a table. She explained the portrait belonged to the husband's great-great-grandmother.
She was from Camden, South Carolina, and her husband died in the Civil War.
This amazing oil-on-canvas portrait, estimated to be from the 1860s, depicts a woman in mourning attire. The appraiser suggests it could be a tribute to the woman's husband who died in the Civil War. However, the table tells a different story. It's an American Empire occasional table, crafted with a dramatic black figure marble top and accentuated by acanthus leaf carvings, which is believed to be from 1820, much older than the portrait. The table was likely made in Philadelphia. Due to its exceptional quality and period style, the appraiser estimates its value at a staggering $10,000 to $15,000 at auction.
Oh my gosh!
I really love it.
While the sentimental value of the portrait is undeniable, The appraiser estimates its market value to be between $800 and $1,200.
Wonderful. This is such a great day. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
The guest inherited this dazzling necklace, earrings, and ring set from her adventurous great-aunt Mimi. This unique set originated in South America, crafted sometime between 1935 and 1945. The centerpiece is a demi-bib necklace, a shorter style that sits beautifully on the neckline. It's adorned with sunny creatine stones, accented by what appear to be diamonds.
When I tested them, they're not diamonds.
Oh.
But they're not glass, they're white sapphire.
However, they turn out to be white sapphires. Still lovely stones, but not quite diamonds. It also includes matching drop earrings and a ring, all crafted in the same dazzling style. One interesting detail to note is the gold content. It's a bit lower than expected, at 9 carats, which can sometimes be a clue about the piece's origin.
We think this piece was made in South America. I would think that a piece like this was probably made sometime between 1935 and 1945.
The appraiser speculates on the influence of the Great Depression-era fashion, where bold and glamorous pieces were popular. The combined value of the necklace, earrings, and ring as a set is estimated at $3,000 to $4,000.
Gosh, really?
Yeah, it certainly would.
It's not every day you see women illustrated on banjos, but that seems to be the norm in Philadelphia, where this banjo originated.
Philadelphia being one of the more important schools of banjo making. Classic Philadelphia school is this sort of pediment head on it.
Made by legendary Samuel Swaim Stewart in the 20th century, this piece of art has it all, with a pearl and abalone wire inlay combo for maximum sound production. Despite the expertly made wire combo, perhaps the most appealing part is the illustration usually present in banjos from Philadelphia. It's no wonder this piece of art is worth between $800 and $1,200.